All right, go. So today we are starting our first dance unit. So we are talking about the basic elements of dance first, but we need to decide what is dance, why do people do it, and how do people do it. So to get started, I want you to think about why do people dance? Is it a desire to dance? Is the desire to dance something we learn, or is it something we're born with? So is dancing kind of innate? Is it in our genes as humans to want to dance, or is it something that we learn based on culture? So we're going to start by watching this little video and see what you think.
Oh man, this is hilarious.
Hmm. So, is that baby dancing because it is something innate, like you hear a beat and you have to dance? Or is that already a learned behavior that she's learning from watching her parents or from watching Beyonce? So, there's no right or wrong answer, and it could be a mixture of both, just something to think about. So, now you should have already pulled up your notes. And then on the top of your notes, you have an article to read, and then you need to answer these 6 questions. Those are all answered in the article. Okay, so pause the video, read the article, answer the questions, and then come back. We will not be going over those answers. So make sure you're reading the article and answering that. All right, moving on to the notes portion. You've already answered the article questions, right? Okay. So, what is dance? Dance is a natural activity that becomes artistic when it is structured and formed by the elements of dance and the principles of composition. So, anybody can dance, right? Any type of movement you can argue is dance. It becomes art when it is structured by the elements of dance, when there is a plan put into the dance. So, there are 2 main types of dance. We have locomotor and non-locomotor. Locomotor is when you move through space. You are traveling across the floor. So most dances are going to fit in the locomotor category. Then we have non-locomotor movements. So this is where you can still be moving your legs and your arms, your hips, whatever, doing whatever kind of dance you want, but you are not moving across the floor. So you are doing most of your movement in like a stationary square where you don't move out of that square. All right, time. So, time, when we're talking about dance, is the relationship of one movement to another movement. So, if 2 dancers are staying together, they're doing the same movement, and then they're keeping time together. Now, the duration of the movement is the length of time that movement lasts. So, you'd be like, I move my arm for 4 beats, I bend my legs for 2 beats. That is the duration of the movement. The phrase is a sequence of related movements that has a sense of completion. So, just like a melody in music was like a sentence, a phrase in dance is like a sentence. So, it's a series of movements that are related that end with a sense of completion, like a period. The pulse is the ongoing beat. So, when you are tapping your foot to the music, that is when you find the pulse. That is your kind of dance move for the beat. The beat is the most basic unit of rhythm. The tempo, just like in music, is the speed at which the movement and performs. So keep in mind that tempo and time are not the same thing. Rhythm is the flow of movement with regularly accented beats. Accent is a movement performed with emphasis. Say you're like doing a march, then all of a sudden you stomp. That is a marked, so that is an accented movement. You are doing it with more emphasis. All right, let's give that. So, space is the area in which you move. Level is your distance from the floor. So, if you are at the high level, that means you are jumping. Middle level is standing. Low level is crouching or lying down. Direction, just like you'd think, is the way a dancer faces or moves. So when you are choreographing a dance, you'll indicate the direction, like move forward, move back, move side, move up, move down. The pathway is the pattern made across the floor. Okay, so this is where you like kind of imagine that you are leaving footprints on the floor as you move, and then those footprints that are left behind at the end of the dance are your pathway. Size is the magnitude of a body shape or movement. So you could indicate, like if you're choreographing a dance, you could say like, do a small bend, do a deep bend, do a big jump, do a small jump, leap to the side. Like you are indicating how large that movement needs to be. Okay, so pause, comprehension check. What's the level and direction of this dancer? So the level is either high, medium, or low. The direction is the way the dancer is moving or facing. So the level is high because she's in a jump. The direction is to the right. All right, there's two types of space when we're talking about dance. We have general space, which is the space shared by all dancers. So if you're in like a backup dancer group or something performing at halftime, then you are all sharing the general space. Then the personal space is when the space is reached while stationary or not moving and is often used to convey connection between the dancers. So this is more like duets. The shape is created by the body's position in space. So your body shape can be open or closed, symmetrical or asymmetrical, angular or curved. Those are just some examples. That is how you are bending your body's position. Force is how much muscle it takes to do a movement. So it's also called weight. So for instance, if you're like showing a lot of power in a jump, like you're bending down low and then you're forcing yourself upwards, that takes a lot of muscular tension. So that has a big force. Dynamics. So this is where we need to be super careful because dynamics in music is volume. Dynamics in dance is how a movement is done. So is it sharp? Is it smooth? Is it tense? Is it relaxed? Dynamics in dance is how a movement is done. So that is different from music. The flow, continuity of a movement, how one movement ends and another begins. So if like you're doing like the robot dance, where one move is like, there's no flow between the movements, that would be called a bound dance. Flowing would be where, like the wave that you do at a concert. Weight is the strength or lightness of a movement. So it's either like a heavy movement or a light movement. Energy is the ability to move, right? Okay, so what you're going to do now is you're going to open up the second document that you have in your agenda called the Dance Viewing Guide. And here, right here, you have the information to fill out the top part of that dance viewing guide. So the title of the dance is The Way You Make Me Feel, and the choreographer is Cooper Nelson from 2000 in New York City. The performers are the cast of Center Stage, and the context, the style is ballet or modern dance. So what you're going to do on that dance viewing guide is fill this top part out from the information in that PowerPoint, and then you're going to watch the dance. Okay, you're going to give a brief plot summary of what you think is happening in the dance. And then you're going to describe 3 elements. So tell me what space they're using. Is it general or is it personal? Tell me the time. Are they keeping in time together or are they not in time together? And talk to me about the force. How much energy, how much muscular tension are they using in their movements? Costumes or props. So this is where you list any costumes, costume changes, any props that you see. And then talk about how did those costumes or props help develop the plot. So if they were wearing just blank leotards, would you have still gotten the story behind the dance? And then you're turning in the notes and turning in the viewing guide.